ready to teleport ourselves to a Spanish-speaking locale using only the power of language. Let's go. We're looking at some beginner Spanish dialogues today, your crash course in basic greetings and interactions.
And you've chosen a great starting point. In Spanish-speaking cultures, greetings are so much more than a quick hello.
Oh, so much more, you say.
They're fundamental, really, to social interaction,
Huh.
It's all about building those connections, showing that respect.
That makes sense, I guess. But how does that actually play out, say, if I'm just meeting someone for the first time?
Using the right greeting. It shows you understand their cultural norms, you see. It goes a long way.
So, how do I nail that first impression? What are some go-to Spanish greetings?
Well, you got your trusty hola, of course. Works anytime, really.
Like a universal greeting card, basically.
Right. But to add that extra touch, that's where you'd use buenos dias for the morning. Buenas tardes when it's afternoon.
Okay, so far so good. I'm starting to see the pattern here. And what about when evening rolls around?
Then it's buenas noches time.
So just like we choose between good morning, good afternoon, or good evening in English.
Exactly. It's all about timing and context.
And I bet, just like in English, using the wrong one could lead to some awkward moments, huh?
You could say that. It can be a bit of a faux pas, let's just say.
Yeah.
Now, greetings are just the first step, right? You'll also want to know how to say goodbye with that same finesse.
Right, right. So besides adios, are there other ways to say goodbye?
This is where those nuances come in. Hasta luego and hasta pronto are your options, similar to see you later or see you soon.
Wait, hold on. There's a difference between soon and later in Spanish goodbyes, too.
Subtle, but it exists. Hasta luego implies you'll see them again relatively soon. Hasta pronto suggests a longer gap.
So they both mean see you around, just with slightly different vibes.
You got it. It's all about mastering those subtle cues that make all the difference.
So we've nailed down saying hello and goodbye, like pros. But what about navigating an actual interaction? Let's say we're in, I don't know, Barcelona, feeling good, decide to join a local gym.
And luckily, your source material
Yeah.
has a dialogue for that exact situation.
Perfect. Let's break it down then. So I walk into this gym ready to sign up. What's the first thing I might hear?
They might ask, ¿Es la primera vez que viene?
Which means?
Is this your first time here? Simple, right?
Okay, so I could just say sí.
Exactly. Then maybe follow up with, ¿Me puedo hacer socio?
And that means?
Can I become a member?
So far, so good. This is surprisingly straightforward. What comes next in this gym registration saga?
Well, just like any gym, they'll probably ask for some information.
Name, address, all that jazz.
The dialogue has them asking for your name with su nombre.
Okay, makes sense. Standard procedure. Starting to feel like I could hold my own in this conversation, actually.
You absolutely could. And here's something interesting. Remember we talked about cognates?
Words that sound similar in both languages.
The dialogue uses the word direction for address.
Ah, yeah, I see it. So if I stumble upon a word I don't know, looking for those English similarities could help.
Exactly. Won't work every time, but it's a handy trick. Now, ready for a truly memorable pronunciation tip from this dialogue?
Always up for a good tip, especially a memorable one.
So, when spelling the last name Casado, they say con se de casa y es de sapo.
Casa and sapo. Hold on, casa, I know, house. What about sapo?
Sapo means toad. They're using those everyday words to help you remember how to pronounce the letters.
That's brilliant. A toad to remember a last name. Never going to forget that. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Greetings, goodbyes, even tackled a gym sign up, all in Spanish.
And you did it all with those beginner dialogues you brought.
Feeling pretty confident, I have to admit, but I know practice makes perfect.
Like with any new skill, right?
Yeah.
But even if you only remember a few phrases from this whole deep dive,
Yeah.
understanding that basic conversation structure, it can really take you far.
It's reassuring, actually, like I'm cracking the code, even without all the vocab just yet.
Precisely. And as you keep learning, pay attention, not just to the words, but the whole context. Like, how might those greetings and goodbyes change when you're with a close friend?
Oh, that's a good point. It wouldn't be as formal, right? Maybe some slang thrown in.
Exactly. Language, it's fluid. It adapts to the situation. The way you'd talk with a friend is different from how you'd address, say, someone older.
Formality matters. Are there any other common traps for English speakers venturing into Spanish?
Pronunciation trips up a lot of beginners.
Like that rolled R.
That's a big one. Spanish has sounds we just don't use in English.
Any tips for getting that rolled R down?
Practice, practice, practice. Listen to native speakers, Really try to mimic them.
Just got to keep at it.
Don't be afraid to exaggerate that sound at first. It'll help.
Exaggeration, key to learning anything new, right? This has been awesome, by the way. A real deep dive into Spanish greetings.
How do you think so?
I feel like I've got a good foundation now. Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap things up?
The best way to learn a language. Use it. Find those chances to practice.
Whether that's with a friend, a tutor, maybe even just listening to some Spanish music.
Exactly. Immerse yourself.
So from mastering hola to navigating those first conversations, I think we've equipped everyone with the tools to start their own Spanish adventure.
It's a journey, that's for sure.
And every journey, it starts with a single step, or should we say a single hola.